Have you wondered about living elsewhere in your retirement? Well, we have almost daily. No, it's not a simple decision, especially when two people are involved.
Hi, this is
Gil
and Gene of Retire There, a podcast about retirement destinations. We live in Brooklyn, New York. Having grown up and worked in this area of the country, we're hoping to relocate when we're both retired. For us, it's the weather, the chaos, the noise, and the yearning to be near nature and not within 3 feet of human beings.
That's right. In February 2020, we embarked on our journey to find that special place. We spent a week in Winter Park, Florida, which is beautiful, but something said it wasn't for us. As we were planning for the next trip, the pandemic arrived. Gene then gave birth.
I gave birth?
To this podcast. With so many baby boomers retiring, many must be relocating. Why not connect with and learn from them?
Here's a little background about us.
I'm Asian, born in Brazil, and grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. I'm an engineer turned attorney turned podcaster. I recently retired from a university career practicing higher education law. I loved the academic environment, but it was time to do something else. I no longer have to set an alarm, drive in BQE traffic, or work with people who don't always share the same principles. Ooh, did I just say that? You bet I did. I traded all that in to binge crime dramas into the wee hours, just a little bit, to develop the podcast, to volunteer, practice metalsmithing, tackle our possessions. No regrets so far. Gene?
I'm not Asian, and as Gil mentioned, I'm not retired. I'm just plain tired.
Oh.
Born and raised in Long Island, New York, a place I always wanted to leave. I'm a law librarian working in a court who loves his job, but we're retired by the time we select our ideal location. We will be speaking to folks from across the street to across the globe who have moved to their dream venues and more. So please stay tuned, and remember, if you know anyone who has moved anywhere for retirement, let us know.
Thank you. Buenos dias. Today, Retire There visits Galicia, Spain, with our guests, Craig Briggs and Melanie Briggs Kidd. We're going to get to that in a little while. I should note, Gene and I are visiting virtually, everyone. As much as we'd love to interview our guests in person, we're unable. Not just because of COVID, but we don't have that kind of money. So just to be clear, all the people that we've interviewed have been live, but overseas through a computer in a program called Zoom. I don't want anyone to think that we're able to make these trips as much as we want to at this point. Oh, and Gene is still working. So it's kind of hard for me to travel alone, only because I think it would be very selfish. The region of Galicia lies in the northwestern corner of Spain, above Portugal. It's characterized by rugged coastlines, historic cities, and rolling green scenery. It was once believed that Galicia was where the earth ended. The place was the westernmost point in the region, jutting out into the Atlantic Ocean. It was given the name Cap Finisterre, literally meaning end of the earth. And it's located on the Galicia Costa de Mort, or known as the Coast of Death. We now know that Galicia is not the end of the earth. You know, we're talking to people there. So, but to many retirees, it is the beginning of a new and vibrant life. So let's meet our guests. Gene?
Craig Briggs was born in Huddersfield, an industrial town in West Yorkshire, England. And he says he's extremely proud of his working class background. Craig was the second child and only son of Donald and Glenys Briggs. It is interesting to note that his parents, who are no longer with us, emigrated to the U.S. in the late 50s, where his older sister was born. Things didn't work out for them in the U.S., and they returned to the U.K. The birth of their daughter had been a joy. The arrival of Craig would make the family complete. Unfortunately, as Craig noted, he was not a normal lad. He had been born with 2 club feet. Some children consider their greatest childhood gift a bike. For our son, Max, it was one of those Flintstone cars where your feet powered the vehicle. The most environmentally friendly method of travel. Oh, remember that one, Gil?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he loved that car. For Craig, things were different. His first birthday brought him a gift that would change his life forever. A marvel of modern engineering, this bespoke footwear gave him what the Vespa had given the youth of the 50s, freedom and independence. They weren't quite as stylish as an Italian-built scooter, but he didn't care. From then on, Master Briggs was on the move, and no one could hold him back. Over the next 5 years, a series of surgical procedures changed the way he moved. When the time came, his mom walked him to school like any other proud parent, and his dad gave him the first and only piece of worldly advice. If anyone hits you, hit him back.
Oh, man. I love that. I love that. You know,
it was the 60s.
Yeah. I had the same problem.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it.
With one exception, his mind proved sharper than his boxing prowess. Academia was not really his thing. He found it difficult to concentrate on anything that didn't interest him.
Gee, had I known that was a thing to not like academia? I mean, who knew you could do that? Okay.
So he left college, entered the employment market, and ended up in retail. It took Craig 6 years to realize that it wasn't a career for him. Following his departure from the retail sector, he spent 2 years as a financial consultant, really an insurance salesman, before buying into a failing printing company. After 13 years of blood, sweat, and holding back the tears, he sold his company to follow his dream. Craig says he hasn't had a proper job since he was 24. He believes if life deals you a bad hand, don't fold, take a chance. A good player always comes up on top.
I just need to interrupt there for a moment. I know it's a very British statement, not having a proper job. I mean, that's in the eyes of the beholder, right? And also, I just want to say that in this day and age, things have changed to what is considered a proper job, right? So, yeah. I mean, I think we're humble and like you, saying that you haven't had a proper job does you no service, because based on what we've seen, you have done not just an improper job, but you've done an amazing job. So we applaud you for that. Okay.
And you took that company, the printing company, which wasn't doing well, and you made it into a profitable business. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's proper bucks there.
Yes, proper.
Okay. All right. So
it's like if people ask you, what did you do? It's not like you can say, I was a dentist, I was a nurse, I was a teacher. Because it's like, well, what did I do?
Right. No, I get that. Yeah. I'm sure this happens in England, but in the U.S., if anyone were to mock whatever you do, you'd probably get shot. No, I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't. Okay.
I'm most proud of the tough jobs I had in life, because that made me what I am.
Yes, it did.
And the US has a very different outlook and attitude towards enterprise. I think in the UK, you would expect to have someone employ you and take a career path. When I say I didn't really have a proper job. I didn't have a 9 to 5.
Yes, and I think all that comes from the Queen's expectations. So
quite possibly.
Come on, really? I totally believe that. So Craig's writing career began in 2004 when he was asked to pen a weekly column for an online magazine. In 2013, he published his first travel memoir, Journey to a Dream. It tells the story of a turbulent first 12 months in Galicia. Since then, he has added 7 other books to the Journey series. In 2021, he published his first novel, Pandora's Box, a Taylor and Swift saga. All of Craig's books will be listed in the show notes. As a spectator, Craig loves the beautiful game. For the less well-informed, that's football, a game which involves using one's feet to kick a ball as opposed to a group of heavily armored individuals throwing or holding a ball and crashing into each other. I know. Never made any sense to me, boy.
I love both games, but anyway, go on.
He finds the term soccer quite nauseating. His team is Huddersfield Town, AFC, of course. I keep interjecting, but have you watched Ted Lasso?
No.
Oh, okay. You have to watch Ted Lasso.
You don't know what it is?
You've never heard of it? All right. It's filmed in England.
It's about
an American coach in
He was
Football?
he was an American football coach on a sort of a lower league college team that won a championship. His wife wants to divorce him, so he doesn't know what to do. So he gets an offer from I guess it's a Champions League team,
AFC.
in Champions League team, a second level team in England. She wants to do it because she really wants the team to fail because her husband gave it to her in the divorce. So
she hires this guy thinking that,
you have to watch it. It's just hysterical.
It's so funny.
It's just hysterical.
Ted Lasso. There have been 2 seasons, I think.
Yes.
Do you know Hannah Waddington, the actress?
We probably would if we saw her.
Yes, but yeah.
But the lead is an American comedian, writer, producer, Jason Sudeikis, and I never really cared for him, but he is hilarious. Hilarious. You cannot stop laughing. I guarantee. Just watch the first 2 episodes. All right.
Okay.
All right. I really digress, and I'm cutting into our time. And Gene's kicking me really hard.
I'm not kicking him.
All right. As well as writing, Craig is an enthusiastic winemaker and owns a small vineyard. Wow. Are you a Capricorn by chance?
No, Cancer.
Oh, interesting. Close enough. Okay. Craig's game of choice is pool. I think he means snooker. And he is partial to backgammon, Scrabble, and Rummikub.
I haven't heard that term, Rummikub, since my mom passed. She would constantly ask me to play. What I wouldn't give to play Rummikub with her now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Melanie Briggs' kid was also born and raised in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire. She and Craig were born in the same hospital 4 years apart. That's quite the destiny. Okay. At the age of 16, she studied catering at Huddersfield Technical College. Her first job was with the government pilot program for the unemployed, where she worked in several industrial kitchens. It was a way of keeping young people off benefits in a time when unemployment was very high. That's interesting. At the end of the year-long placement, she was employed in one of the kitchens. She also worked in a snooker club. For Americans, snooker is similar to pool. I just want to be clear about that. At a writing school, in exchange for free writing lessons and a pub and a restaurant in the evenings to make ends meet. Her last job was in a farm shop. Oh, that's interesting. What does one buy in a farm shop? I'll ask you later. She has not worked since she's 31, although she now helps Craig with his social media book, marketing, and winemaking. Melanie enjoys reading and cooking, and she is Craig's biggest backgammon and Scrabble opponent. Good for you, Melanie. Melanie and Craig, welcome to our show. You are not the typical retirees, or shall we say, you are not the proper retirees since you left the workforce at such young ages. You moved to Spain almost 20 years ago, when you were both around 40, give or take, Melanie 4 years younger. And by the way, we understand you recently celebrated your silver wedding anniversary and have been together 37 whopping years. Congratulations. Oh my God.
Thank you.
And they were together longer
than
before marriage than you and I were.
Yeah. We're getting there, but okay.
You need to make sure it's the right thing to do.
Oh yeah. So Gene has been engrossed in your articles and books and sharing your stories with me. But we only have 60 to 90 minutes, although I probably killed 40 minutes already, set aside for this episode. So let's get to it. What led you to Galicia? Just as the first question.
I think the main thing was fear. As a young man, I thought that I would have less years of mobility than most people. As the years have gone by, that's turned out to be incorrect, actually. My mobility's improved since I stopped working.
Wow, that's great.
And and as people get older, bad joints and overweight and things like that. So my peers the gap is closing in terms of mobility between, quite a large proportion of my peers and myself. So that was, I suppose, the driving force was the fact that I wanted some retirement time, and I thought I would have less than other people. So the goal became early retirement was 55. I always like to overachieve, so I dropped that to 50. And then because of my disability, I took another 10 years off. So the target was retire at 40, or at least give myself the choice to do alternative things at 40. So that became the goal. And by pure fluke, we managed to achieve that. And Spain, Galicia, was chance, pure chance. We used to holiday on the Mediterranean coast in Javia, and we used to do two holidays. We used to do 4 holidays a year. We used to spend 2 weeks on the Mediterranean coast, and we used to spend 4 weeks in total, 4 separate weeks on Lanzarote, one of the Canary Islands. So they were our destinations of choice, places we're looking at. And by pure chance, looking on the internet for properties, these romantic stone farmhouses, a beautiful green scenery popped up in this place called Galicia. Never heard of it, didn't even really know it was in Spain.
Yeah, who would?
So we thought, let's go take a look. We booked a flight, a long weekend. I booked one of these romantic stone cottages with an open fire, and it was just
nice.
Fantastic. And so we did 3 nights, 4 days, and said, right, let's go.
At the end of February.
At the end of February.
And at the beginning of May, we packed the car up, put the dog in, put ourselves in, and off we went.
That was it.
Wow.
We drove up into the sunset.
Wow.
Never to look back.
We had arranged to rent a property for 3 months originally so that we could just get a feel for the place. So we did know roughly where we were going. We had somewhere to go to, but it was quite different to the Spain we'd been to for our holidays.
Been to previously, yeah. It's a very beautiful part of Spain.
Very green,
beautiful scenery, mountains, deep valleys, lakes. Very similar scenery to Yorkshire. So dry stone walls, fields with cows in, even slate roofs. Galicia supplies 90% of roofing slate for the whole of Europe.
Wow.
So it's just seemed like a good fit, really, for us. And we came on a 3-month trial. And never went back.
So did you move to a country town? Where were you exactly?
We moved to a little village called Ferreira, which is only 10 kilometres from where we live now. We rented an enormous house. 20 years ago, there were very few choices. So we just rented basically a property that was in the area we wanted to be. We renegotiated the rent after 3 months when we knew we was going to stay, and we'd found a house that needed renovating. So we knew we were going to be there longer. We ended up renting for 12 months before we moved into our home.
You look online and you've been to Spain before, so you know what that's like on a plane, but you didn't pick Valencia or Madrid. I need to understand this, because if Gene and I do this, do we just trust ourselves to go and take a look without comparing to other places that you have heard of in Spain?
Nothing's definite in life or permanent. So, renting
You've
somewhere.
You've been there 20 years.
Renting somewhere for 3 months, taking a look, seeing if you like the area. I mean, we moved from, it's the biggest town in the United Kingdom. I mean, it would be a city other than the fact that there's no cathedral in Huddersfield. So it's the biggest town. And it's also a very industrialised region of England. And we moved to a very quiet part of Spain, rural Spain. That was a huge contrast. To give you some idea, we live in the village of Canabal, which falls within the municipality of Sabea. The area of Sabea is just over twice the area of Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Through association, we know every single one of the residents in the municipality of Sabea. So there are 2,243 residents, and through association, we basically know them all.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So everyone knows each other's business, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But Gil, okay. I think, so they picked this area in Spain. It sounds to me that people in Spain are so nice. We could pick anywhere in Spain and we'd be happy.
So Galicia was the place. All right.
Yeah, culturally, it is Galician. There are other expats from other countries. The Dominican Republic has quite close ties with Galicia, Cuba, other places in South America. But it is a very Galician culture that we moved to.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in our village speaks English.
Wow.
Whoa. Nobody in your... So the two of you, yeah.
There's about, 60 houses?
60 houses, yeah. Maybe 100 people. And no one speaks English. Very few people do speak English.
Wait.
But it's not a huge problem.
Do the two of you speak fluent Spanish?
Melanie does that. I get by.
Lazy fluent Spanish.
Really? So how do you communicate with all your 2,000 closely held neighbors? Just by making gestures? Or
Melanie is fluent, and I'm more than happy to converse in Spanish. It's not a problem, but that's something that's developed over the last 20 years. It's not something we just were able to do when we arrived. So,
sure.
Yeah, language is not a huge, for me personally, language is not a huge thing. I mean, it is very important, and the most important part of communication, language. But there are, far more facets to communication than just language. Facial expression is very important, which we found, over the last 2 years with having to wear face masks.
Interesting.
Hand gestures. There was a time that we used to have to go into shops and draw the things that we wanted.
Oh my God.
and
that all adds to the colour of moving abroad. The joy of it all.
Man. Oh, that's so neat.
And why did you pick an inland village as opposed to somewhere on the sea or one of the three? I believe there are 3 cities in Galicia, right?
Yeah, it was just chance, really. We didn't actually consciously pick a place to go. We were flexible, and it just so happened that we got to Galicia and didn't get any further, really, I suppose. We just stopped where we were. It never felt like a conscious decision that, we must live in Galicia, we must live inland. It's just how it developed. We were happy when we came. We decided to buy a property, but even buying a property, you can always sell it and move somewhere else. It wasn't, I suppose, if we'd have been in our 60s, we might have had a slightly different attitude. We might have gone somewhere that we knew better and we, knew what to expect or had a better idea what to expect.
Or possibly less rural.
Yeah, possibly less rural. I mean, when we moved to Galicia, we could have gone to the coast, which is far more urbanised. It just felt right, really, and it's been a fantastic decision. It's easy to go to a town or a city, but if you live there, it's not as easy to get away from it. That is your life. You have city life, and then you go to the country for the weekend. We can go to a city for the weekend.
The beach.
Or the beach, which is, for me, a far better way of, we have this very calm lifestyle.
So
it's pressures.
It sounds like the people there in your town are very welcoming. Are they? And did you make a lot of friends?
Galician people, I mean, Spanish generally, I think. I've always found Spanish people to be very warm individuals. But Galicia, I mean, they were really inviting. We hadn't, the fact that we couldn't speak their language, they still spoke to us. We hadn't a clue what they were saying, but they were just such lovely people.
I love it. And so I'm speechless, which is quite unusual. but I think we would have to, in the interest of time, read your books to really understand, because you've been there so long that it's kind of hard to expect you to share with us any kind of culture shock concepts at this point. You're fully embraced. I mean, you're Galician, right? At this point, you're no longer English at all, right? Do you feel that at all?
Well, they're still English.
Well,
yeah, we will always be English. It's
no, I mean, I don't think you're English so much so that you yearn to go back.
Oh,
right?
No, we went back in...
God, if people could see his face.
Did we go back in 2020? Was that the last? No, 20.
We went back, in 2019, I think it was, and that was the first time we'd been back for 10 years.
Wow.
And we only went then because it was my sister's 60th birthday, so otherwise we wouldn't have gone.
Okay. How far is that when you went to see your sister? What was the commute?
Well, she lives in London, so it's probably 2.5 hours to the UK by flying there, 2.5 hours.
No, that's not
I mean, we have driven
non-stop to West Yorkshire.
Oh, my goodness.
okay.
21 and a half hours?
21 and a half hours.
Non-stop?
Oh.
Non-stop.
Oh, my God.
We won't be
You guys
doing
are
that.
incredible.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, we can't even do that. So for us, it's not an option. All right. So how far are you to the beach when you say you want to go?
We're 100 kilometres to the sea.
Okay.
But where we live is sort of halfway between two major rivers. The River Minho actually forms the border between Portugal and Spain, further downstream.
Wow.
So we're very close to a river beach, which is a sandy beach. There's a bar and a restaurant there.
Nice.
There's even pedalers, I believe, now. So it's... we're very close to that.
When you say very, how far?
Well, from the river beach, 15-minute drive.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's really nice.
Wow.
All right. Just to remind everyone, 1 kilometer is 0.6 miles. So I don't want to have to do too much of the math.
Right.
I want to be able to visualize
5 kilometers is 3.1 miles.
All right. Anyway, 100 kilometers, which Craig just mentioned, comes to 62 miles. So that's how far the beach is. For us, that would be, with traffic, that would probably be 2 hours. But okay, gotcha.
We hardly see any traffic where we are. That's a massive thing. When anybody comes to visit, where's all the traffic? Mm-hmm. We can go from our house to the supermarket, which is about 8 kilometres, 10 kilometres.
Yeah, 12 perhaps. 12
and not see a car sometimes.
Wow. Are the streets lit? Does the government provide, are the lighting all over at night? And
residential streets are lit. In fact, even in the smallest of villages, there might only be 1 or 2 houses. You have an entitlement to a street light if you want one. Oh. So even the smallest villages, the streets are lit. The main roads between, for example, our village and the nearest town, that isn't lit. But, without any... I mean, the main dangers at night are wildlife, not other vehicles. You're more likely to come across a wild boar than a car.
Did you say wild boar?
A wild boar, yeah.
So I guess you drive to pick up your groceries. You don't necessarily walk.
We do drive. The nearest village to us is the central village of the municipality, which is Sabea, where there are supermarkets. Mm-hmm. And people in our village do walk there and walk back with the shopping. People in their 80s do it.
So no fear of the wild boar looking at you with the food.
No, they're
more nocturnal.
They're more nocturnal animals, and if you don't bother them, they're unlikely to bother you, really.
My Lord! So what other wild animals or not wild and do you encounter, like right outside your home?
Deer, fox. What else? Wild boar. There are martins around, which you rarely see.
Martins?
A martin, it's like a squirrely type thing.
Oh, okay. Nothing too
bit bigger
big.
than a squirrel.
Okay.
Lots of birds.
Birds of prey.
Eagles, storks, heron.
Prey? Did you say birds of prey?
Birds of prey, yes.
Like what? Like a hawk?
Eagles. We have...
oh, nice.
Yeah. In the summertime, I have short-toed eagles whose main diet is snakes.
Snakes, we have.
Oh, my God. Look at her. She says it like, oh, yes, snakes.
I'm petrified of them since I got bitten by one.
Oh, my God. Yeah. First, you have to find out if it was poisonous, right? What? So what kind of... Oh, God. You guys. Well, we have to have long conversations after this. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Grass snakes, adders. I mean, they are venomous, but they won't kill you. But it's a nasty bite.
They're not going to kill you. Okay, I've been in Brooklyn way too long.
All right, I have a question, not about animals. Your village. Do you have a coffee shop? Are there any stores there, or There's nothing.
When we first moved, there were 2 shops which sold a whole variety of things and also doubled as a cantina, which would be a local bar, but they have since shut. But we do have a bar and restaurant in the village. Okay. So we're quite lucky.
There's one bar and restaurant.
There's one bar and restaurant, yes.
Wow.
Excellent restaurant. They serve a menu del dia, which was a concept introduced, I believe, by Franco during his rule, whereby a working man could get a 3-course meal and a drink for an hourly, what he would earn per hour. So if you earn 500 pesetas per hour, the menu del dia would be 500 pesetas. When we first moved to Spain, menu del dia was 1,000 pesetas. So it was like €6.
But the peseta had gone out of use.
The peseta had only just gone out of use. It's now €10. So for €10, you get a starter, a main course, a sweet, bread, coffee, as much wine as you can drink for €10 a head.
That's amazing.
Usually half a bottle of wine each.
What?
Yes.
Normally a bottle of wine per couple.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so for $10, you can have
11,
half a bottle of wine and a lot of food.
Dessert.
A lot of food.
Bread.
Hearty food.
Wow. No wonder you're living there. Your lifestyle improved having moved there. Certainly.
So that must be the meeting place for everyone in town, huh?
It's a very popular restaurant. There are others. It's not the only restaurant. We're very fortunate with lunchtime menus. Menu del dia it used to be a nationwide service. Many places now, the more popular areas of Spain, they've started either edging the price up or even stopping the menu del dia altogether. But where we are, working people still rely on menu del dia for the main meal of the day. So it's still very popular.
And lunch is the biggest meal in Spain, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I need to go back a second. So can you, from your house physically, can you just walk out nearby to get a cup of coffee?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't have to have a car, yes?
You don't have to have a car.
But
well, I love driving. I mean, I can't imagine life without a vehicle of some
me too. Totally. Me too.
It sounds like you really do need a car around there.
Yeah. No. I just wanted to get a sense for the audience. If you move to Galicia, whether you need to buy a car. I think unless you're in city proper, I would assume most people drive.
Most people do drive. Unless you live in a town or a city, most people will drive.
Okay.
We have in our village, there's quite a number of old people and they don't have cars. And we'll either rely on a neighbour to give them a lift or more often than not, we'll just phone up a taxi and get a taxi to the doctor, to church, to the supermarket. So taxis are readily available and inexpensive. And in Carnaval, which is quite a novelty really, we have a train station.
Wow.
And we have the train stops twice a day, once going east, once going west. You can travel west and return in the same day, but you can't travel east and return in the same day. So it's a pretty useless service, to be honest.
Talk about travel. How far is the nearest airport?
We have 3 airports, Vigo, Santiago de Compostela and A Coruña, and they're all roughly an hour and a half from our house.
Okay.
None of them serve the US. It would be, you'd have to stop in either in Gatwick, Heathrow or Madrid would be the service to the US.
Some friends who lived in America, they used to go from
Sacramento to Chicago, Chicago to Madrid, and then Madrid to Santiago. Although from Madrid, there's also the high-speed train, which is 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes, €39 one way.
Nice.
Very comfortable, modern rolling stock.
Yeah, I've heard about that. From your house to the airport, you wanted to not drive. Is it easily, are taxis readily available?
You could go to town in a taxi and get the bus from 140 to Santiago Airport.
Yeah, or we could actually get the train from our village to Orense and then get a train from Orense to Santiago de Compostela. So we could get the train to the airport if we wished.
It might take 3 hours, 5 hours, depending on the connection.
So when you go to the airport, you usually drive?
Yes. Yeah.
And you leave it in long-term parking if there's such a thing?
We have done, in the past when we don't fly very often. To be honest, I prefer to drive than fly.
Okay,
by the time you've waited in an airport and then,
at
the other end, had to go through customs.
Yeah.
It only takes us 10 hours to drive from one end of Spain to the other, 1,000 kilometers, 10 hours. It's an easy drive.
Sure, Craig. Okay.
10 hours. 10 hours.
All right. So let's talk about costs, shall we?
Okay.
If we were interested in pursuing Galicia and everyone knows each other, is housing available, and what would you say the pricing would be?
Well, estate agent speak in Galicia is quite unique. So something classed as habitable, most people probably wouldn't put livestock in, to be honest. But there are properties starting probably round about 80,000 would be 80,000 euros would be ready to move into, and to a standard that we would be happy to inhabit.
What does that include? How many bedrooms and?
Probably
2 or 3 bedrooms. We know a house that sold recently that had 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 reception rooms, kitchen, and for about 80,000. So, there are.
That was a bargain.
Yes.
Okay.
There's you buy a house to live in Galicia, there's really no price inflation at all. I don't think our house is worth any more now than it was 20 years ago. So, there might be a little bit more, but not much.
Okay.
So you do buy a house to live in.
Right.
If you're wanting an investment, inland Galicia is not the place to buy a property investment, really.
Sure.
But you can get a decent house for $100,000, you're saying?
Yeah.
100,000 euros, I mean.
From 80,000 euros, probably to 150, there are quite a lot of older properties that are completely ready to move into, old farmhouses, detached farmhouses with maybe an acre of land, maybe a bit less.
Wow.
So nice. Yeah.
There are some lovely properties, for good prices.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in terms of furnishing the homes, is it easy to do that because of where you're located, or are there expensive, tariff or shipping charges to buy? I assume there's no furniture makers or what have you in Galicia.
Oh, there are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Okay. Tell.
Yeah, there's a road from the nearest town to us, which is Monforte de Lemas, to our provincial capital, which is Lugo. There's a road, and it's called the Ruta de Muebles, which is the route of furniture.
Wow!
Yeah.
You want to go on that one?
Furniture shops, lots of furniture shops along this road. I mean, we've even bought furniture in Portugal because across the border in Portugal they make good furniture and it's inexpensive. They generally deliver free of charge from Portugal.
Wow!
It's only an hour and a half away.
Nice.
Most of the furniture shops by us deliver for free. And it's sometimes if you buy furniture that needs putting together, they'll even put it together for you for nothing.
They'll build it for you.
Do you mean like IKEA? Is there an IKEA?
Yeah, no, not like...
Well,
similar style.
Yeah, similar style furniture to IKEA. There is an IKEA in Galicia.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my head wrapped around, I see photos online, but I really want to get to understand what you're living within. So there's an IKEA presence. Well, so the Danish felt comfortable to put one there, obviously, and they're huge. So all your neighbors must go on certain, they must hold special events. Good old IKEA. No? Okay.
No, very few people use IKEA, really. Here, you can buy quality inexpensively.
So why would you go to IKEA?
Of course.
I'm not trying to say that IKEA is not good quality.
No. I love the meatballs, and I also love the can do. I go there for inspiration, and Lord knows we have purchased a lot from IKEA
but
over
it
the
doesn't
years.
last usually.
No, but it's nice depending on the line. All right, let's not go into IKEA lines, but yeah, I'm glad they're there. Stop kicking me. This is your podcast, your baby. If you keep doing this, I'm not gonna join anymore. All right, no, we're gonna cut all that out. Don't worry. So,
punch each other.
So what about utilities and costs, things like that to run a home? What are those charges like?
Utilities. We, not long after we moved into our house, we decided to drill our own borehole for water supply.
You drilled your own what?
Not us personally.
Yeah, a borehole. It's a well.
Okay.
They use a similar sort of drilling technology that they would to drill for an oil well.
Okay, so you went from running a printing service to boring holes in the ground. Oh my God.
Boring.
This is
cut that out as well.
Oh my God, they're turning red. I wish you people could see this. There was no transition, like you didn't take any courses, how to create a well.
No. We employed a company to come.
Okay. Missed that part. All right, go on.
Yeah, so our water is, the water's free, but obviously you have to pay for the electricity to pump the water to the surface. So there's very little cost difference really between the water that the council supply and our well water. But the water's much
fresher and cleaner.
Yeah, there's no chemicals in our water. There's, our water comes straight out of the ground into the tap and we drink the water.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. That's really nice.
It's 82 meters, so what's that? 250 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long way down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's inexpensive. Water's inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then our house is 100% electric. Now, when we first moved to Spain, utility costs were probably slightly higher than the UK. Not by much. They're very similar. But I think now electricity is less expensive in Spain than the UK.
So what's a monthly bill?
Monthly bill probably varies throughout the year, but roughly I would say maybe 110, 120 a month euros.
Wow, that's a little lower than us. Well, obviously, there's so many factors. How the size
but there are other
and all
things that are so inexpensive.
Yeah.
We talk about buying a house. What about renting? Do you know what the cost of renting a place in your area will be?
A bit more difficult rental. Most of the rural properties are available for short-term holiday rental. You might be able to find somewhere on a longer let. But in the nearby town of Monforte, renting an apartment, we have some friends that rent a duplex, 3-bedroom duplex apartment, which is 450 a month. I think they pay something in that region.
Wow.
And what did that place entail? Was it 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom studio?
No, that's a 3-bedroom duplex.
It's a lovely little...
very, very modern renovation work, but in an old building. So it is it's very nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is...
And I think that, for 450 would be a fair price to rent. This one that they're renting is fully furnished. You could probably pay less for one that's not fully furnished. They generally include kitchen appliances.
Oh, good.
And it would also include any annual management charge would be included in the rental cost. So the 450 is total rental cost. The only thing on top of that would probably be utilities and any contents insurance. The building will be insured by the person letting it, by the owner of the property, but you'd pay for contents insurance and utilities, whatever you use, really.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. I want to go on
affordable. That's great.
Go on to status. If you're not coming from the European Union, what kind of status could you get in Spain?
Well, now, unfortunately, the UK's citizens are treated exactly the same as the US citizens.
Right.
They now have to apply for, if you want to, you're allowed to stay for a period of 90 days and then 180. And obviously the 180 is a rolling time period. It's not fixed. So if you come on the 1st of July and went home 90 days later, the next period doesn't start 90 days after that. It is a rolling period. So you can only ever come for 90 days in any 180. And other than if you want to come for longer than that, you have to apply for a non-lucrative visa, which now means that retirees or younger people can no longer work in Spain. So you have to be completely financially self-sufficient now to move to Spain.
And there is an amount that you have to prove that you've got.
Yeah, it's 26,000 euros, I believe, 26,000 euros for the first person. You have to be able to prove that income, and 7,000 for the second. So you have to be able to prove an income of 33,000 euros in order to come for a longer period than the 90 days.
And what about healthcare? How's the healthcare by you?
Brilliant.
Yeah, the healthcare in Spain is really, really good. Obviously, because of my disability, I have first-hand experience of the NHS in England. And I would say that the Spanish service is probably better than in the UK. Yeah. They're very, very good. But the standard is excellent. Yeah, to have no complaints at all.
Okay. And what if you pay out of pocket? Do you know how's the cost?
I understand that it's very inexpensive compared with the States, for example. We had a couple recently, they wanted something like 200 euros a month for the two of them, which was like the premium plan. They were approaching, well, one person was 60 and the other one was almost 60. So I think they were wanting for the two of them 200 a month, 200 euros a month, something in that region.
Oh, that's good,
for private health cover.
Is it easy to secure a primary care physician in Galicia?
In Sabah, we have a medical centre. So that's like 3 minutes up the road in the car. Nice. And there are now 2 doctors working there and 2 nurses. If you're lucky and you go on the right day and at the right time, you can say, I don't feel very well. Can I have an appointment? And they'll see you there and then.
Oh, wow.
We rarely have to wait for an appointment with the doctor.
So it sounds like there aren't too many medical issues. There's 2 doctors and 2 nurses.
There are only 2,200 residents. So
still a lot. I mean, that's still a lot to service. So do you have a regular primary care physician, or do you just go when you need and whoever's there?
No, we have
our own. Yeah, we have our own general practitioner, and that we would usually see if we made an appointment, the secretary would make us an appointment with that physician, and then depending on what was wrong with you, the doctor would make you an appointment there and then to see a specialist at the hospital. We also are very fortunate that the nearby town in Montfort de Lemus has a hospital. So that's, again, 12 kilometres from home. We have a hospital that would do most things, particularly specialise in trauma. We've had people here from the UK on holiday have a heart attack. They're taken immediately to La Coruña, which is an hour and a half away. They've had stents put in during the stay. We have a centre of excellence. So the centre of excellence for cardiology is La Coruña. The centre of excellence for cancer problems is our regional capital, Lugo. Again, a very short distance away.
Okay.
And then the general hospital in Montfort de Lemus will basically cover most things, really. It's just highly specialist treatments catered for in these centres of excellence, which, to my mind, is a good idea in what is really quite a sparsely populated place, really.
And they don't, if you've got a problem, I've had 2 operations on my knee, and they don't just say it's wear and tear, it's nothing. They want to get to the bottom of why you've got pain.
Great.
Oh, wow.
And they won't just, in my experience, send you home. They will
Oh, no,
keep looking until they find what's
until they diagnose what's wrong with you. They will just keep searching, and so you might go to accident and emergency, and you'll have an X-ray, you might have a scan, you everything that's needed in order to diagnose the problem, which in my experience didn't always happen in the NHS. A consultant doctor would have 100 patients to see. Each one would be 5 minutes, and that was the period of time that you'd get. Whereas here we found that no stone goes unturned until they've diagnosed the problem and set out a course of treatment.
Wow.
That's
incredible.
So Melanie,
really incredible.
Melanie, how's your knee now?
Great, thank you. It's no pain, no nothing at all. But wow. I really could not fault how good they were.
She had keyhole surgery on her knee. We sort of traced the accident back to trampolining.
Trampolining?
Yeah, which old people should not do.
Old people.
That's what they told me when I visited my son who was in Iceland, and I went with him on a snowmobile, and he was driving, and he crashed, of course, and I broke my arm. And I came back, and everybody at work said, "You think you should be doing that in your age?" Yes, I think I should be doing that in my age. Want to have fun.
I get these WhatsApp texts. Dad's in the hospital. I couldn't make it. And it was frightening. I'm over here in Brooklyn going, what the heck? But yeah. Luckily, everything worked out. But I kept I was WhatsApping him going, are you in an ambulance? And I think, what happened? No. How did you get transported? Wasn't that a fiasco?
When you're in Iceland, the snowmobiling is in the middle of nowhere. They bring you out on this vehicle that has these huge wheels through the snow. Anyway, so we had to go back, and that was the most painful. I'm sitting on this big sort of vehicle, and then they transfer you to a bus. Of course, the guy who ran the tour, instead of taking me directly to the hospital, he dropped people off first.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever heard of that? If this happened in Manhattan, oh my God, you want to talk about litigation? I
said, I'm in pain. He said, yeah, probably didn't break it. I got to the hospital. He said, oh yeah, you definitely broke it in 2 places.
Can you believe that? That's insane.
And the guy who ran the bus tour, the Iceland guy, he basically said to me, you're a wimpy American.
I know. Can you imagine? He broke his arm, and he's like, we have to take a couple more people on the tour.
Anyway,
this is why it exacerbates, but it's so reassuring.
But the hospital is very good there, and the doctor is very good, I must say.
All right, don't protect Reykjavik. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's fortunate that it wasn't that serious. A break is a break, but still, it was very scary. It was very scary. Of course,
you were further away as well. When you're in another country and somebody's had an accident, you're about to worry, and them saying, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me."
Right, and then the next thing you know, the person's gone, and what do you do? All right. Okay. So you know what? I have to say this for everyone listening, that this is so reassuring. The medical care is as good as we've heard. I love hearing that they're interested in delving into the source.
Yeah, that's great.
There are so many doctors, and there are so many folks in the medical field that will just first, they're pressured by the system, like my primary care. I love her to death, but she has 20 minutes. And within that 20 minutes, she is speaking like at a speed you wouldn't you wouldn't believe. And I wish I could record her, but she's also a friend of the family. So I don't want to record her without her knowledge. And that just wouldn't be right. So I must say, good for Galicia.
Yeah, what do you think? So you've been there for 20 years and you haven't moved. Why do you think you've stayed? Is it the people? Is it the environment? What is it?
It's a combination of all those. I mean, we do spend 3 months of the year in the south of Spain on the Costa del Sol. So December, January and February, which are the worst months, usually the worst months for weather, we do spend in the south where it's warmer and we see more of the sun. But the climate in Galicia is Well, I think it's probably as ideal as we could wish for coming from further north in Europe. The summers are hot enough to enjoy, but not too hot that you're confined to the house with the air conditioning on. I mean, we don't have air conditioning at home. There are probably in a good summer, there are probably 2 weeks when air conditioning might be an advantage, but 2 weeks is not so bad. 2 months 2 or 3 months like they have in Spain. I just listen to the Gozo podcast, and it's very, the weather in southern Spain is very similar, to Gozo. In the summertime, they lock themselves away with the curtains closed and the fans on, and go out at night, and that's the life. Well, we live the alfresco lifestyle from
I like that.
Normally from the beginning of May through to the beginning of October. We spend our whole lives outside, just enjoying the weather. It's we have the 4 distinct seasons. So whilst we miss most of winter, we do get the nice parts of winter. There's a ski resort an hour and a half from our house, and we can actually see the mountain from our back garden.
Wow. Oh, that's nice.
That will be covered in snow in some years, right up to the beginning of May. We have glorious sunshine. We sat out, dining outside, and we've got a snow-capped mountain in the distance.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fabulous place to live. Springtime is generally nice and warm. Obviously, it's a very green place, so it does rain.
And when it rains, it rains.
We don't get them. Again, in the south of Spain, they have these torrential rains where you get an annual rainfall in a few hours. And it just washes.
It's like here.
Places away. Whereas Galicia, you get, in summer, sometimes you get spectacular electrical storms. It'll be 2 hours and then it's gone. It brings fresh air in, and so it's very nice. We're autumn, so we have all the changing autumnal colours, the golds and coppers, and then we drift into winter. And as the temperature starts dropping, that's when we pack our case and head south.
Wow. So how cold does it get in those 3 months in the winter?
Yeah, give us numbers.
Well, the coldest, this is over a 20-year period, the coldest we've ever experienced was minus 13 degrees C, minus 13 degrees centigrade.
Okay.
And that...
But that was quite early in the morning.
That was very early in the morning because we were going to the hospital, probably for Melanie's knee. That same day, we ate lunch outside.
Wow.
Just short sleeves.
Wow.
Oh my God.
What's the average temperature in the winter?
I would say the average.
Get down to -2 regularly.
Yeah.
In the night.
During the night, as high as 18 degrees C during the day, and as low as -8 at night.
So -13 Celsius is 8.6 Fahrenheit. Oh, that's still very livable for us.
It was really
cold.
But that was just
right. But I'm saying if that's kind of like the worst case, and you recall that, then we know that that's pretty much as low as it gets, which in my standard, like today.
The year before we moved, the river in Monforte was frozen, and it froze so thickly that cars could drive over.
Oh my goodness.
But it's never been like that since. In 20 years.
It hasn't been like that since. So.
And does it ever snow in Galicia?
It does snow very occasionally. It snows on the mountaintops, and perhaps above 800 meters, maybe it will snow quite regularly in winter. But where we are, that's twice in 20 years we've had snow that's been around for longer than 5 hours.
5 hours, because as we record in New York right now, it's 24 Fahrenheit, so that's -4 Celsius. I know that must be very cold for you. Yeah. But for us, we have this thing called down jackets, puffers. and I don't know, maybe I'm getting older, but I even wear the puffer in the restaurant. And no one looks at you, it's just like, it's very normal, but it's not the most comfortable thing all the time, So, okay. And so do you have air conditioning? Do most people have air conditioning, or?
No, hardly anyone has air conditioning. Our neighbor, in fact, our next door neighbor when I say next door, they're 100 meters away. Her husband, who's now passed away, used to work for the electricity board. And as a former employer of the electricity board, he gets free electric.
Wow.
So they have an air conditioning unit in every room.
Wait a minute. If you work for the government's board, you get free. This
electric.
I mean,
no, he works for the electricity company.
Yes.
Yes. He gets free.
So when you retire, you get free electricity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And even though he's no longer here, his wife gets the free electricity.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Oh, nice. That's the primary beneficiary. Okay.
So they have probably 4 air conditioning units in different rooms. I've never heard them going once, ever.
Wow.
And they are the only house in the village with air conditioning.
Wow.
Well, and no one complained about that.
We have got a portable air conditioning unit, but only to keep the wine cool when it's fermenting in the shed.
Priorities.
Yes.
Talk about the wine. So you make wine. Do you sell it?
No, it's just for personal consumption.
No wonder they're so happy.
All right, let's go back. Gil, you had mentioned the name. So Craig is Craig Briggs and
Melanie
Briggs
Kid.
Briggs Kid.
Why is that?
In Spain, Spaniards have 2 surnames. And of course, in England, we only have 1 surname.
Mm-hmm.
So Melanie's maiden name has become her second surname. So she's now Melanie Briggs Kid. And as I didn't have a maiden name, they just duplicated my surname.
Wait, is that because you became resident and they required official name?
That's when you become citizens. You take on residency. Is a permanent status that you're Spanish residents, but you retain your nationality of birth. Whereas if you take on Spanish citizenship, you become a Spanish citizen and you take on Spanish nationality. So as such, everyone in Spain has to have an identity card.
Mm-hmm.
As Spanish citizens, we needed to have 2 surnames rather than the 1.
So I would become Gillen Chan.
Because she didn't take my name.
I didn't take his name because I was, hey, it's a long story. Well, it's not a long story, but, I was never a Prudhomme. And he can't even pronounce his own last name.
But Craig, why didn't you take Kid? Kid's such a cool name. It's like Billy the Kid.
Right.
Boom, boom.
No, I couldn't because that was never my name. You see, it was Melanie.
You see that is the male response. It was never your name. See, women don't say that.
She took your name, and that was never her name.
Right. What do you say about that?
Well, I mean, that's just traditional. That is.
Okay. Craig, I had you as a plus sign. Now, okay. Melanie, so you chose to, I'm sure in England you can choose to take on the surname of your future spouse or not, right? Because it's a civilized country. I think that in other places where you do have, like in Spain, you do have to fit the requirement of having the surname. But my point is you have to have the names. So I would become Gillen Chan. All right, then I might as well just change my first name and be Chan, and I would just go around being called Chan Cubed, which is kind of cool. Okay, all right.
But in Spain, you have your mother's first. I think this is how it is. Your mother's first surname and your father's first surname. And even when you get married, you keep those names. So when you're in Spain and you're filling forms in, and for example, at the back, and they'll say, what's your name? Craig Briggs. And your name, Melanie Briggs. Is that all? Yeah. And you've got his name. It's the same name. And at first, they just couldn't get the head round it. We've got the same surname.
Right.
So you could say that Spain's very progressive. That when you get married, you keep your name. You don't. So
true.
Males, it's only your children that take your first name of the
it's so respectful, right? When you think about it, because you don't have to really do any serious Google or detective kind of research to know someone's origin. You know, like in the Chinese language, you will know that. So depending on the side of the family, your aunt, for example, you would know just by calling the person by the certain name, whether they're from your paternal or your maternal side of the family. I always thought that was just so much more work. But as one gets older, one realizes how valuable that is, because during the conversation around the dinner table, you avoid the whole, wait, so is he on your mother's side or on your father's side? You know, you don't have to, all that nonsense just kind of goes away, you know, as opposed to just aunts and uncles on the father's side and the mother's side. All right. So that is very, very interesting. And, you know, speaking of Chinese, that probably would not work because there's so many characters in an Asian name. Like if I took my father's first name and my mother's first name, my name would be so long. It would just, all right, this is not about me. Can we talk about something that we haven't covered? And I know we've taken a lot of your time and we so appreciate it.
We're here. We've got time.
Okay, great. Guys in the audience, feel free to just double speed us if you want, or just come back because we don't want to lose you. This is so interesting. So tell us about entertainment and social activities. What do you do in Galicia?
You can do as much or as little as you want, to be honest. We're very fortunate that the mayor of our local council in Sabah, his wife is the music teacher, and she is able, I don't know how, but she's able to book artists, global artists, that might be doing 3 concerts in Spain, Barcelona, Madrid, and the council hall at Sabah.
No.
Yeah. Honestly, we've had artists from all over the world, classical artists, violinists and pianists.
Wow.
And most of the concerts are free.
Oh, yeah, they're all free.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's right on our doorstep. That's 2 minutes from home. And then in the nearby town of Monforte, they also have council concerts that the council put on. There's village fiestas. Pre-COVID, every little village would have a fiesta. So from May through to October, you could certainly do 2 or 3 fiestas a week, and in the summer probably
5 or 7.
Yeah. Sabah is very prestigious, the centre of a very prestigious wine growing region. So we have an annual wine fiesta which attracts tens of thousands of people. So that's we have other fiestas for all sorts of different things. Chestnut harvest, cherries,
matanzas.
And then there's a college in Monforte where you can take language lessons, art lessons. Basically, anything you want to do is available to do.
Okay.
Most of these activities will be for local people. So most of them will be done in Spanish. There's very few would be done in English. Things like art and music. I mean, we know people that have played the band. Not the banjo, is it ukulele? Ukulele. Absolutely everything you could want to do.
Yeah, because I know the physical art scene is just, it's stunning. And that's just typical of Spain. There's so much, in terms of street murals and those large pieces. It's just colorful and it just brings such vibrancy to the area.
And history, the place is full of history. I mean, our provincial capital, Lugo, it's a World UNESCO Heritage Site, and it's the only city in the world that has a complete Roman wall that you can walk around. So,
wow, interesting.
The old city is surrounded by a Roman wall. I mean,
wow.
You can walk around. It's fabulous.
So what do you guys do on a regular basis? Let's say, because you're retired.
Or after COVID.
All right, let's talk about before, and let's talk about before.
Well, we would go to fiestas, and we would go to most of the concerts in Sabah, most of the classical concerts there. We've been to wine fiestas. We like wine, by the way.
Yeah, really. Mm-hmm. You could have fooled me.
Yeah. We've done wine fiestas in Portugal, in Ribadavia, and then we have our wine fiesta every year. They had started pre-COVID to have an annual wine fiesta in summer in the nearby town of Monforte de Lemos. So we do them. Also, you get local artists. Carlos Nunes is very famous Galician. It's called the gaita. It's a small version of the bagpipe, and he's he's an international artist. But generally, he will play a concert locally. We fado music. There's a fadista, as they are called, the singers. There's one based in Orense, which is 30 kilometres away, and her concerts are always popular, and she performs in the area. So those types of events we would tend to attend.
Okay.
We did initially when we came. We did take Spanish lessons. That's probably about it, I think, isn't it?
Football matches. We've been to a lot of football matches.
Football, of course. That goes without saying. So.
We've been to Portugal. We've been to Madrid.
Oh, you mean soccer?
Soccer, yeah.
Okay. And what about snooker?
I used to play regularly with someone, but that's quite some time ago. So I don't play as much now as I used to do. I still enjoy the game, but
because I'm not a very good opponent.
Melanie's far better at backgammon than snooker.
Ah, nice. Like, it's sunny out, and you said that you spend a lot of time outdoors. So do a lot of people go hiking because you're near the mountains or things like that?
We're very near to the Camino de Santiago, which is the Christian pilgrimage route, traditionally from France across northern Spain to the cathedral city of Santiago de Compostela. That attracts quite a lot of tourists every year. When I say quite a lot of tourists every year, it might be 200,000 walkers throughout the year.
Wow.
But that's across the whole of northern Spain.
Okay.
And then there's a walking route to Santiago from Portugal. There's one from southern Spain. Mm-hmm. There's even an English route, which traditionally English people would sail into A Coruña and walk from A Coruña to Santiago. So there's all these hiking routes. We're very close to the rivers, which are, I say rivers. Again, during Franco's reign, a lot of the rivers were dammed to produce hydroelectricity. Mm-hmm. So they're more like lakes now. It has a similarity with the Lake District in the UK, if you've ever been there. High mountains, beautiful scenery. People go fishing or...
Right.
You can go on boat trips, or you can just take a canoe if you've got a canoe and just go freely whenever you like.
Wow, sounds so nice.
There's lots to do. At first, it wasn't very well publicised, so you had to go looking for things to do. Once you start really looking, there are things that you can go to. There's some beautiful viewing points. You can go to them and there'll be nobody there at all.
Wow.
So it's just there, so peaceful, looking at the river and nobody to disturb you.
So no tourists have ruined the spaces. That's so nice.
Not really, no.
Okay,
no.
Well, just wait till after this show, all right?
So Craig, you sound like you two do a lot of activities, but when do you find time? When do you do your writing? You've written, what was it, 9 books?
There's 8 in the Journey series, and then the novel I wrote last year. And there's also a short story, which is free to email subscribers on my website. But I do write almost daily. I do find time almost every day to write. I'm not a prolific writer. Some of my contemporaries might write 6 books a year. That's never going to be me. Last year was probably my most productive year, doing the 2 books.
Because we couldn't go anywhere.
I don't mean to be nosy, but
yes,
a little bit. You're writing your books. Has that added somewhat to your income?
It has. Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, that is the main source of our income. It takes time to gain momentum, but That is. We used to own a second property, which we let to holidaymakers. When we first started, there were very few properties to let in Galicia. So we did very well. For northern Spain, I think we did very well. But over the years, we had the property for 9 years. The number of bookings started falling off. And so in 2018, we did sell the property, which, as it's turned out, was just by fluke. Turned out to be a really good decision because over the last 2 years, hardly anyone has been to the area. I started writing to 2013. So by the time we sold the house in 2018, we were doing okay. We didn't move to Spain to become wealthy individuals.
Right.
If that was the case, we would have stayed.
Work 60 hours a week.
Yeah. We're quite happy to have a modest income and just enjoy where we live and life in general, really.
Yeah, really.
You lived the fire lifestyle before fire existed, right? You guys are amazing.
We probably did, yeah.
Yeah. So during COVID, did the activities change that much because you're in like a rural kind of area, right? I mean, was there a lot of Netflix involved so you couldn't go out much? Or I shouldn't promote Netflix since they're raising their prices.
During the lockdown, we bought ourselves a television. We've never had a television in all the time that we've lived here.
What?
But in the lockdown, we bought a television. But we don't subscribe to Netflix, etc.
Good for you, because they're way out of, for us, it'll be 186.
Wow, so you never had a TV, so you didn't watch football matches, except if you go to a pub, I guess you could watch.
Well, we didn't have any TV programs for the first 10 years. When the internet started live streaming programs, we did used to watch certain programs in the winter on the laptop. So that was probably from 2012-13 up to 2018. We would just watch it on a 15-inch screen. Last year, we bought our first TV.
2020 now.
2020.
Wow. May I ask what size screen you got?
I suppose by modern standards, it's quite small. I would think it's 24-inch or something.
No, it's about 36
inches, yeah. Still quite small.
Well, it's double your laptop, and
yes,
you don't have to sit like right next to each other, right? And you can sprawl out kind of. So, unrelated question: are you enjoying the television at all? Because you're not big on TV.
Yeah, we don't watch it at all in the summer months.
Wow, no wonder.
Yeah, so it's just a. Mm-hmm. It's a form of sort of mindless entertainment, isn't it, that you can watch in the winter when you can't think of anything better to do, I suppose.
I think he just insulted you, Gene. Mindless entertainment all day.
Me?
Yeah, well, I watch quality. I watch quality shows. All right, I'll have you know, I have binged seriously in the last, 3-4 years maybe. And part of that is because of my anxiety from work. So I would just be taken away to a series called Shetland. Have you heard of Shetland? No.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you watched all the 6 seasons?
We may have done. We've certainly watched quite a number of them, yes.
Isn't that wonderful? He's such a wonderful D.I. Perez. Okay. Although he doesn't look like a Perez, that's a long story.
No,
what about Broadchurch?
I think we have seen the second series of Broadchurch, but maybe not the first.
All right.
And we haven't watched Downton Abbey.
I haven't watched that either.
We watched one episode and we said, this is boring.
Yeah.
I know people love it. A lot of people love it, but not us.
If there are no serial killers.
This is why we binge on your podcast. Because we don't watch TV. We binge. Honestly, you don't believe it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's so nice.
You'll have to listen. Yeah, thank you.
Interesting.
It's been really interesting. But we've taken the mini speaker outside. And when we've been sat outside, we've been listening to where other people are in the world. It's interesting how other people do things and what they do.
Yeah. I know.
Where they go.
I know.
Yeah, people are going to be saying that about you soon.
Yeah. Seriously, we want to hear
what telling anyone.
No, so you have to share it and spread the fun. Actually, it's interesting because tonight we're recording a third episode about Thailand. We have on the calendar 10 a.m. Briggs, and then we have 10 p.m. Chiang Mai. And I was just, doing research. Chiang Mai has 117 Buddhist temples. That is,
wow.
I mean, that's incredible. That's a site alone, right? So, and I heard you mention one kind of religious or place of worship in Galicia, right?
Oh, the Cathedral at Santiago, yeah.
Yeah,
but we have in Canabal, our village, we have a 13th century church.
Wow.
Which is really interesting. And there are still the painted murals on the walls because that's how they decorated the walls, 700 years ago. There's a lot of Romanesque churches. Romanesque is a period rather than, it doesn't relate to the Romans. 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th century churches in the area.
Wow.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah. Those are places to really explore and enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
there are tours available to, so you can go and, see 10 churches, or we went on a tour, which was churches and wine, actually.
Everything comes back to
if it
wine.
doesn't have wine, you're not taking the tour, are you?
You guys are so funny. Okay. So we've covered a lot, covered the cost of living, the weather, how close the airport is, and all that good stuff. Healthcare. What words of advice do the two of you have for people who wish to retire early? We know that's a good thing, of course. And it seems like you're able to, certainly in Galicia. But what words of advice do you have for, I guess, in the broad sense, for everyone thinking of retirement and moving to Galicia?
Well, I have thought about this question, and I've come up with 3 pieces of advice. I think the first one, and probably the most important, is anxiety is not location specific.
Yes.
So if you are happy in your life where you are, you will probably be happy somewhere else. But if you're not, relocating is unlikely to change that, I'm afraid.
Very true. It'll be worse. Maybe.
We because we've been here 20 years, we've seen quite a number of people try to make the move and end up returning to their home country.
Oh, wow.
And the majority of the time, it's nothing to do with the location. It's to do with issues that they have in their own lives, really.
So interesting.
Yeah. So your troubles come with you in the case, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be my first piece of advice. The second one is don't wait to retire. It's too short. Just just retire. As soon as you can. There are 2 types of people that we've spoken to. There are people approaching retirement, and the first ones can't wait to finish. They cannot wait for that day that they retire.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the countdown.
I have 3 more days. Group of people, and they say, I love my job. I don't want to retire because I love my job. And without exception, every single one of those people will say to us, within 6 months of retiring, I don't know how we ever found time to go to work.
Yeah.
It's a fallacy that most people don't love the job.
Yeah.
Most people would prefer. It's this fear of the unknown, I think, that what am I going to do with my time?
Right.
And I think people are worried as well about affording to retire. I think they feel that they need more money to have a retirement, and I couldn't retire yet. I can't afford to retire. And you think your health, your well-being can't afford for you to wait. So
excellent sentence. Yeah, your health can afford. Right.
And then the third piece of advice, which is more specific, I wouldn't rush into buying somewhere. If you move to a different location, I'd be inclined to rent a property, and then you see more of the area. You can find out if it sort of meets your expectations or exceeds your expectations. Or you might just think, actually, 50 miles away is much better, or by the coast I like it more by the coast, or I like it more inland. If you buy somewhere, whilst it's not irreversible, it makes things much more complicated. And perhaps some people end up putting up with things that they perhaps wouldn't have done if they'd have rented somewhere and just had a look around.
Sure.
So those are my 3 pieces of wisdom.
Well stated, sir.
Yes,
well
that was
stated.
great. What about you, Melanie? You have anything to say?
I would say that it's not easy moving permanently. It's definitely not easy. The first time you feel that you don't want to live there, we'd been there about 2 weeks. A man came to the door to do us a favour. And I closed the door. I started crying. I said, I can't live here. I can't understand what they're saying. And I was just so upset. And Craig says, well, we'll go somewhere else. I said, no, we haven't tried it yet. And some people don't give a move a big enough chance. They do sometimes give up too early. And 20 years down the line, I am really, really glad that I said, no, I want to try to live here.
Oh, wow.
And how long did you give it before you loved it or said, I'm not going anywhere else?
Well, Melanie settled in quicker than I did.
Oh.
But for me, it was a progressive thing. If I'm honest, it was probably 5 years before I thought, I'm so glad we decided to move here. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were young too.
Yeah, that's true.
You're still young.
You settle into a place. I mean, I loved it from day one. Don't get me wrong. I loved it from day one, but to be really, really comfortable and
to accept it, right? That this is where we're going to be without thinking, let's leave our bags unpacked.
Yeah, it's amazing that Craig Briggs, you wrote 8 books on moving to and living in Galicia, and you must have had so many events. Unfortunately, we can't talk about them, but I am looking forward to reading the rest of the books.
You need to read. There are no secrets in our books. They are all true events.
Really?
Things really happened.
Oh, okay.
And the first 8 books only cover the first 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
He's really keeping this series going.
Yeah, really. And Melanie, do you edit his books? I mean,
I do. I help with the editing in the first stages, but we do now pay somebody to edit them.
Okay. But I was thinking of content. So are there any surprises that he writes and you're editing and you're thinking, why are you sharing this with the world?
He wouldn't dare.
What?
He wouldn't dare. He's afraid of her.
I thought she said she wouldn't dare change it.
No, he wouldn't dare.
No. He wouldn't dare write anything that I would.
All right, kid, you keep him in place, Melanie, kid. Okay. All right. On that note, we cannot thank you enough. Seriously.
Thank you.
Oh, this has been so much fun. And, especially during COVID, we have met so many nice people and you guys are right there. And it's a joy to have to wake up in the morning to record fun people. Oh, no. Oh, my God.
It's not that early.
Excuse me. It's not early. It's 10 a.m. Recording time when you're up late till the wee hours of 3 and 4 watching some nonsense after you've had your gummy bear, which is not a good idea. Yeah. And that's a company that I truly believe has helped my insomnia. And for anyone interested, feel free to direct message me because I am not going to advertise for any CBD entity. All right. So on that note, again, you guys are beautiful and it's so nice to have met you. Should you chance your way to Brooklyn, please give us a call. By then, we hope to have one of the main rooms renovated, and maybe we could do like a little guest house. But don't expect an acre of land. Don't even expect. I don't know what to
we
tell
live in
you.
Brooklyn.
It's teeny, but our son has moved out to get a job, so we would love to spend more time with you. And they're thinking, no,
we're not leaving Galicia.
We're not leaving Galicia.
No, but likewise, if you find yourself,
you must come to Galicia. We can't explain how beautiful it is. You'd be stunned by the place.
And for our audience, you should see these two. They're clearly really happy people.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Galicia.
The wine.
Oh, it's the wine. Yeah, it must be the wine.
Remember, this is mid-afternoon for them.
Yeah.
So they probably had their little.
Have you had any yet?
Little grapes and.
No, it's water, honestly.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so
we'll
much.
Be in touch.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you know someone who's relocated for retirement and wishes to share their story with us, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is gg@retirethere.com. Our website is retirethere.com, and you may follow us on Twitter @retirethere_. Now, if you've liked our show, please subscribe and rate it in Apple Podcasts. In the meantime, be well.